Why is Gen Z more broke than their parents?
Well, first of all, they jump around from job to job and do not focus on one particular arena. They've been told for such a long time, just try a bunch of stuff and see what fits. And that's a recipe for being broke because you don't ever get good at anything. You never stick around at a job long enough to actually add enough value to that company, to your own career resume, to actually get enough skill sets that you can increase in value in whatever it is that you're doing, whether you decide to start your own company or work for somebody else. I think another big reason that they're so broke is that they're still living with their parents. Like 33% of Gen Zers still live at home with mom or dad. What does that mean? They're not hungry. When you're coming home and your mom's still making your food and doing your laundry, what's making you push harder or try harder or take risks? You have a super soft place to land. So why would you try that hard? It's millennials' fault that Gen Z is so broke. We went into careers full steam ahead and we were like, if we want to get ahead, we got to go to college. We got to get a corporate job. So we worked on Wall Street, Deloitte, anything that would take us. And then a couple years later, we were burned out. We were broke. We were so tired. So Gen Z, our cousins, little brothers, little sisters, just people in society looked at us and said, I don't want to end up like them. And so because millennials went so deep into getting these crazy corporate careers and getting burnt out because of it, Gen Z said, I don't want to do that. So now Gen Z did the college thing, is on the other side of it. But what they're not doing is getting into jobs that can actually pay off their student debt. A huge crippling issue with Gen Z is this student debt that they're not getting paid enough for. They're on average in lower hourly range jobs in their early 20s than millennials were at the same age.
Now, does that mean don't take the hard job? Don't take the job that pushes you to the limit? Don't go do the big corporate thing where the goal is actually to weed out 2 out of 3 and like learn a little bit from the pain. So like, what is it? Take the hard job, avoid the hard job,
Well, they have to take
go through the hard
job.
stuff. Yeah.
Gen Z needs to get into corporate and if you want to reform something, you got to join it. You can't reform it from the outside because you don't know how it works. So Gen Z is coming in saying, and I get it, as millennials, we did it too. We wanted to change the world, but we went in and we worked for the Deloittes. We worked on Wall Street. We worked inside these major government organizations. I know I did. And I got inside and I realized we were the problem. Let's go change it. So I realized I had to get in, get out, and get on with actually changing the world. And that's what Gen Z's got to do. Right now, they're trying to change the world from TikTok. They don't actually know how these organizations work. They don't know how the government works. They don't know how these major companies work. And so they're trying to start startups or work at startups, and none of them know how real wealth is made.
And and it's not even really their fault,
Sure.
right? It's
millennials' fault.
Right. Well, they weren't taught how to be value creators.
Sure. Just content creators.
Which I can. That's hard, right? Because content does have value. But what kind of value? If you create content, what need does it satisfy? If you create content, what problem does it solve? If you create content, what hurt does it heal?
Yeah.
What thing does it do?
Yeah.
And by the way, it's not good enough to create value once, and that's enough. It's, were you taught to be a value creator over time? And while you were doing that over time, did you get better?
Right.
Did you go from serving one person, a few people, a lot of people at scale? Did you do it over 6 months, 12 months, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years? I think the thing that plagues this generation the most is they weren't taught how to create actual value over time that changes lives and outcomes.
Sure. Well, and I think putting in the reps. I think that when you are in a generation that values the highlight reel, you don't value the grit that it takes to become excellent. And I think it's really going to bite them in the ass later on in their life, where now they're in their 20s, entering their 30s. And as they get to midlife, they're going to realize that the hard work that they should have been putting in their 20s when they had the latitude, maybe they didn't have the stress and the anxiety of having a, why are you shaking your head?
I can't take, they have lower wages. They're not making as much money. They need to stay in their parents' house. It's bullcrap. It's such bullcrap because I also know of specific examples of people who are in their early 20s who have figured out how to make $1 million a year.
Sure.
It proves it can be done.
Right.
What it means, it proves that value creation is still the skill set that matters, whether you're Gen Z, millennial, boomer, Xer, all the way up to traditionalists, still have some of those left, or the next generation Alpha or something.
But isn't that also, too, our fault? It's our fault for elevating these Kylie Jenners and these celebrities who became cajillionaires seemingly overnight. So now you're comparing yourself to another 26-year-old who's making billions of dollars. And so you're thinking, I'm just one idea away. Maybe if I come up with...
And that's the delusion.
Absolutely.
It's the delusion.
And so because of that, I actually think that Gen Z is holding themselves back because they're waiting for their next billion-dollar idea instead of getting good at what's right in front of them. So Gen Z spends about 6 hours and 5 minutes every single day on their phone. I can't imagine anyone being able to make any sort of money spending over 6 hours a day holding their phone up in front of
So
their
you
face.
get 24 hours in a day. You might get 5 to 7 or 8 hours of sleep a night. You have to work some kind of job. And somehow you're squeaking out 6 hours on your phone.
Yeah.
What value can you hope to create? Even if you were mildly good at the job you have,
Sure.
you have to use the outside time to get better at the job you have,
Right.
or better in a skill set so you can change to a different job and create more value. And by the way, don't sit there and tell me I'm on my phone 6 hours a day because I'm learning things.
Right.
Doubt it.
Yeah.
Most people
Show me your TikTok.
Show me your TikTok. Show me your Discover page. Show me, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That 6 hours is spent more time consuming than creating. If you're on your phone 6 hours a day creating value for the world, great. That's awesome.
Sure.
But if you're spending, like most people are, 6 hours a day consuming on
And
your phone,
escaping.
stop it. Stop. What are you running away from? The reason you spend so much time on your phone is because there's nothing in your life that is currently interesting.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing interesting. There's nothing pulling you. There's no problem in the world that you have to get after solving. There's nothing that's inspiring to you. Your life has become something you have to escape from, but because you can't actually escape from it, you escape through your phone. And so stop using the 6 hours a day on your phone to consume. Start using the 6 hours a day you spend on your phone to create, and not necessarily on your phone.
Well, we had a crazy thing happen. We were at the airport not that long ago.
Oh, this one's great.
And we were running
great.
late for a flight, probably my fault. And we were
Always your
standing
fault.
in line for Starbucks. And the woman at the front taking Starbucks orders, and mind you, there's like 25 people behind us. The Starbucks in an airport is a very stressful situation. Everyone's late for their flight. Everybody's snarky. Everyone's tired. And this woman taking orders is literally scrolling on TikTok as she is taking orders. And you and I looked at each other, and I think that's when we realized how addicted this generation is, that it's not fulfilling enough for her to look at someone in their eyes, take their order, say good morning, have a human interaction.
Get paid for it.
She's getting more dopamine hits from the dopamine casino of her phone than she is from having a conversation with a customer right in front of her.
So what's funny about this problem of like the dopamine addicted Gen Z, millennials too, but more so Gen Z, I've always felt this way. I've felt that it's never been easier to stand out as somebody of excellence.
Sure.
Now, you might be, what are you talking about? It's so hard to stand out. I can't figure out how to go viral on Instagram or TikTok or whatever. No. I'm not talking about just standing out to be seen. I'm talking about standing out as a value creator. It has never been easier for both millennials and Gen Z to stand out as a great value creator. Because if your whole generation around you is spending 6 hours a day on the phone, how about if you just spent 3 hours and use the other 3 hours to be productive, learn a skill, sell, persuade, serve, help, solve problems? You're going to stand out.
Yeah.
You'll stand out in 3 to 6 months after doing that.